All sports, all the time.
There's heroes and there's legends. Heroes get remembered. Legends never die.
This is the Spoken Podcast.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
I'm your host, Lance Twidwell.
Man, that kid, he can ball, man. He can ball.
Touchdown, Kansas City!
Patrick freaking Mahomes, baby!
Let's talk some sports, because that's what we're here to do.
You are tuned in to The Spoken.
This is the Spoken Podcast. I'm your host, Lance Twidwell, here inside the Starcade Media Studios with my guy, Trevor Twidwell.
What's good?
Episode 317 is in full swing, full motion. We're so happy to be with you guys and for, to be with you guys and you to be with us, regardless of where you guys are watching, listening, live streaming, podcasting, YouTubing, whatever you guys are doing, however you're doing it. We want to thank you so much for being with us in this time as we have a show that might not be the longest show we've ever done here. You guys know that we get a little long-winded over here, especially on this side of the table, but we got a show for you nevertheless, guys, because there's some things I want to discuss. We are in the heart of the summertime. You know, it's hotter, as Robin Williams once said in Good Morning Vietnam, it's hotter than a snake's ass outside right now in Kansas City. We're dying out here. I can tell you guys, I'm a stick of butter with a beard on, but we are holed up in this very cool studio area of Trevor and I's. And we are surviving. As you can tell, Trevor is dressed like a cosplay Nirvana member today, so I'm really happy for him over there. I am free floating. I got my Dolly Parton shirt on, and I am actually still sweating somehow. I don't know how I do it, but we prevail, and we have a good time. We got some stuff to talk about, guys, because like I said, we are in the dog days of the summer for when it comes to football time. Baseball's usually August, but the dog days of summer, because we're right before training camp. I can't believe it, man. We're less than, I think we're less than 80 days away from training camp now, or from football, the actual week 1 football. Yep. So we got a lot. I mean, we got a lot to get to before that actually happens. And there's a lot of moves the Chiefs are going to have to make, or at least a few key moves the Chiefs will or won't make before that time happens. But before we get into that, I want to get with Trev. Trev, how you doing this week, man? How's everything going in your world?
Good, man. It feels like summer is officially here this week. It's been a brutally hot week, and it's going to be brutally hot probably for the next few weeks at least, 4 or 5, 6 weeks. But I'm good, man. It's been a good week. This week actually flew by. I was busy with work and things with the kids and things like that, and then got more going on this weekend. So ready to talk some ball, bro. Ready to get one weekend closer to some real action. So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, let's not waste any of your time. If you're already here with us, I tell you at the top of every single show, I tell you at the bottom of every single show, we want you to be a part of this show. Well, the best way of doing that, the only way realistically we want you to do it, is if you go to YouTube, go to the Spoken Podcast, and hit subscribe, notify, share, all those buttons. Definitely help us out. But the one that helps us out the most, the one we want you to push the most, is the comment button. We want you to get in the comments. We want you to be a part of the show. I tell you all the time, guys, it is not Trevor and I talking at you. It is us talking with you. So let's be a community. Let's have a conversation. Whatever it is you guys want to talk about. Maybe there's something all week long that you've been burning on. And there's other shows that maybe just haven't given you that platform, that opportunity to have your voice heard. That is why you're here today. You may not even have known it, but that is why you're here today. And your instincts brought you with us, and so listen to your instincts and get in that motherfucking comment bar, guys. We appreciate it very much. So without further ado, Trevor, it is time for Lance Rants.
Gotta scream! Yeah! We're back on motion! The moon's gonna do me!
I put out a tweet this morning, kind of stemming from a tweet I put out yesterday. You guys know that this is what we do, and honestly, I've kind of stayed away from the social media landscape for the first time really in a very long time this summer, this off season, primarily due to the fact that, you know, it was a rough Super Bowl. The loss itself sucked to the Eagles getting just absolutely clapped like that, but also knowing the historics that were with that game, that the Chiefs had a chance to be the first team ever in the history of the NFL to three-peat, was something that I don't know if there's anything in my entire life as a sports fan that I wanted to see more happen. In fact, I'll go as far as say that was even more than just the Chiefs winning a Super Bowl. Maybe it's a greed thing now that the Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl damn near every single year for the better part of a decade. But it's that was what I wanted the most, is to be able to say that my team had a three-peat in the NFL, which is just absurd to think about.
Yep.
And then when that didn't happen and the game went the way it did, I kind of, in a weird way, subconsciously shut down. I don't want this to turn into a therapy session, but I just want you guys to hear me out as to why it's been a little bit of a distancing for myself. And just, quite honestly, the world just kind of sucks sometimes, and social media just gets kind of tiring, so you want to stay away from it anyway. But we stick to what we stick to. You know, it's sports. It's what we find relevance in to discuss with the world. Because sometimes, man, when you talk politics, religion, things like that, it just gets way too in the weeds, and you just kind of lose me. But this is something that I've always liked having discourse on, and I'm starting to get that feeling back. I've told Trevor the last couple of weeks, man, I'm starting to like miss my Sundays again of having football to wake up to. I'm getting that itch again. So I've been putting out more thoughts and more opinions here and there, more on the Twitter sphere, because that's where I'm at more times than not. And I was listening to, because I give credit where credit's due, and hopefully everybody starts to practice that. But I was listening to 96.5 The Fan yesterday on my way home. Had a long week, but I was like, I just need to decompress a little bit. I'm going to listen to some sports radio and see what they're hopefully talking about. Hopefully it isn't like, hot dog power rankings or anything that they like to do. But they finally had a football conversation. And something they had discussed was they had Nate Taylor on, the Athletics' Nate Taylor. And Nate Taylor was discussing something that I've been trying to avoid like the freaking plague for the last couple of months, because I've been telling you guys my offseason wish list. The biggest thing on that wish list was getting a trade scenario with Trent McDuffie and get some picks. And I've been avoiding it. I told you guys even on the show, and Julia Gooley and other people. And by the way, shout out to the chat for being here already. We love and appreciate all you guys, and hopefully you guys are lively already. But Julia Gooley had brought this up a couple weeks ago on the show about, Lance, like, where are you at on all that? I'm like, I'm trying to avoid that conversation because I know the Chiefs aren't trading him now. He's going to be with the Chiefs this year. So I don't really want to discuss that. But, Trev, I feel like Silvio Dante, man, in The Sopranos. Just when I thought I was out, they pull me back in. Man, they're pulling me back in, dude, because the conversation that Nate Taylor was having on this show was his stance is that he believes the Chiefs are going to pay Trent McDuffie, and he says that they have to pay Trent McDuffie. And that's the part of this conversation that I want to have real quick. And I want to do a little bit of a Tarantino here real quick, Trevor, because I want to start from another part of it and work my way back to this. So I put this tweet out this morning of the current players that I think the Chiefs should extend pay over the next calendar year. We can go ahead and put that up there real quick. This is what I put out there this morning. There's only three players I think the Chiefs need to pay or should pay. It's Trey Smith, George Karlaftis, and Rashee Rice. Now, I'm going to explain those three real quick, and I'm going to move back to my Trent McDuffie situation. The reason why they need to pay Trey Smith, I think it's also very obvious for a myriad of reasons. One, he's a direct protection of the most valuable asset the Chiefs have ever had in Patrick Mahomes. So obviously you want to pay that naturally, especially if they're really good at their job and they're still in their prime years or about to enter their prime years. Two, the Chiefs have already shown commitment to Trey Smith. They could have traded him this offseason. They could have tagged and traded him like they have with previous veterans they've had before that they didn't truly want to pay. But they obviously staked their flag by trading Joe Thuney, the other guard, and then giving Trey Smith the $23 million in a tag, and ultimately have come out multiple times and have said they plan on paying Trey Smith. Trey Smith has said he wants to stay here, and we just talked last week about we're very confident that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's why it's the number one. It's without question. George Karlaftis is number two on my list because George, to me, he solidifies, like, players embody things sometimes. Like, obviously you have your superstars, you got your role players, you got guys like that, and then you got those dudes that are like a little bit in between that are just so consistently just good. Guys that have 12, 13, 14-year careers. I think George Karlaftis is that guy. I think George Karlaftis is a guy that's going to give you 10-plus sacks a season. He's going to play every bit of 16 to 17 games. He's going to have his best football when it matters the most, which he has in the postseason. And he's just a guy that everybody loves. No drama. He's just got his shit together. He's all about ball. He's just that guy you want around all the time. And I think he's going to be a Chief for a very long time.
Yeah,
That's just my opinion. I think that he's going to get paid here, and I think that that's a guy you want to have. And you guys know where I stand on defense, and I'll get to that in a second. I don't usually, promote paying defensive players, but I think that George is one of those guys you do. And I think because he's still so young, he's only 23 years old. I think he'll be 24 this year, but he's still so damn young, which means he's only going to get better from this point. And he plays such a valuable position of need, edge rush. I think that's why he needs to get paid. Now, Rashid is the interesting one. That's why he's in the bottom of my three, because Rashid, although I think we all have a very comfortable understanding of who we believe him to be. We still haven't seen a large body size of Rashid, right? We haven't seen Rashid play at a high level for 30 games. Rashid actually hasn't even played 30 games in his career. So I understand if people aren't comfortable paying him yet, but here's my issue. Brett Veach has been so good at drafting in his career, but one of the few places that he's been pretty bad at, if we're going to be honest, is wide receiver. Now, if Xavier Worthy pops, which it is starting to look very promising, that could change that. But, just the way that Veach has drafted that position or brought guys in, through free agency or through trades, it just hasn't bode well. It hasn't landed the way it's supposed to. And so I think that you have to stick with the guys that get you there, the guys that actually do stick. And with Rashid only being 25 years old, still got a lot of football ahead of him. Obviously, we got to watch out for the knee, but from everything we're seeing at camp and OTAs and stuff like that, he looks like he's ready. He looks like he's going to be fine. And we know the technology of today. Me working in the medical field, I know repairing ACLs today, as opposed to even just 10 years ago, is significantly different. Yeah. And I think the advancements are what's going to help guys like Rashid bounce back pretty damn quick. So I think if the Chiefs believe that the off-field stuff is no longer an issue, he's matured, he's grown up, he's in his mid-20s now, he's helped this team win a Super Bowl. He was the only real thing outside of Travis Kelce was helping Patrick Mahomes carry the offense in 2023 as a rookie. I think he's a guy that you can pay, and because of the fact that he's had an injury, he's had off-field stuff, I do wonder if the Chiefs are going to have to pay him top dollar like they would otherwise. Like, if he had 3 straight great seasons to start his career, man, they're probably going to pay him like $110 million. But I wonder, with all the stuff going on with injuries and with the off-field stuff, maybe they could get a little bit of a discount on him. And maybe you could see if they can get a little bit of a discount on him. So that's where I have those 3 guys. Outside of that, I mean, you have like your Leo Chenals that I would like to see paid. But if they don't pay Leo Chenal, I mean, they brought in Bossa. I feel like Leo could be replaced. I don't feel like he's an irreplaceable player.
Yeah.
I do think that he could be replaced. But they paid Leo, that'd be fine. But see, the reason I know everyone's freaking screaming at me right now on social media, and probably while they're watching or listening to the show, where is Trent McDuffie on this list? And I understand that, because I know that he is a fan favorite, and this dude is one of the single best players on this team. He's one of the best players in football. Trent McDuffie deserves all the credit in the world, and honestly, he deserves every penny that he's going to get with his next contract, because I get it. The value of a player like this, it comes with a heavy dollar amount. But that's the reason why he's not on my list. See, since 2019, there have been 44 All-Pro cornerbacks. The average age of those All-Pro corners is right under 26 years old. It's 25.7. So basically 25 years old, 7 months. And of all 44 All-Pros, 22 of them were 25 years old or younger. Literally half of them were in their they're still in their rookie contract or right outside their rookie contract. And only 11 of them were aged 28 years old or older. And multiple of those 11 were the same guys, like Darius Slay, like dudes that are just outlier players. That's a 6-season sample size. This is more than enough evidence to prove my point that paying cornerbacks, even great ones like McDuffie, is not the right decision for perennial Super Bowl contenders like the Chiefs. And yes, he is arguably the best draft pick in the Veach era. I think we all can agree. Like, if you made a list right now, it's like him, Creed Humphrey, and then we'll see about these newer guys that just got drafted the last couple of years. But those are like the top 2 guys. Trey Smith kind of falls in that same category. Maybe Rashid will become that. But I think that we can all agree Trent's at least a top 2 pick that Brett Veach has ever made. The dude has been unbelievably awesome.
Yeah.
But no position, and I think we all can agree here, no position holds the same value, and every position on the football field ages differently. I mean, McDuffie is a better individual football player than Trey Smith and George Karlaftis. I think we would agree on that, right? As just an individual standalone player. But because of O-line and edge being far more important positions of value than cornerback, they also age better. Like, we see guys on offensive lines and edge rush that play 10 to 15 years in this league. You don't see that at cornerback. Guys aren't playing 12 years at cornerback, hardly ever. Even some of the greatest ever, like Darrelle Revis and guys like that, they didn't have great decade-long runs. It just doesn't happen because it's so much built on athleticism, speed, and quickness, and hip rotation. That stuff, that's the first stuff to go. You know what I mean? Those are the things that go for guys that are 5'11", 190 pounds. You know, you're not a freak athlete. This is why I believe we're still sitting here in June of 2025 without a McDuffie extension. The Chiefs see the cornerback market, and I think it's too rich for their liking. And I'm sure when they drafted McDuffie, they were prepared for this possibility. But Veach knew that if he got 4 or 5 seasons out of McDuffie, there's a great chance he gets his best 4 or 5 seasons out of McDuffie. Because again, cornerbacks don't get better as their careers progress. And they're only getting more expensive to keep. And look, I realize that Chiefs fans do not like this take of mine. I've seen and heard it all. I get it. That's totally fine with me. But see, no one can refute the fact that in order for the Chiefs to continue putting out a Super Bowl contender, which is obviously everyone's desire here, they have to keep cheap. They have to be cheap somewhere on this roster. I keep preaching that. You can't have just an expensive roster everywhere. Look how the 49ers did it. Yeah. They had an expensive-ass roster around a 7th-round quarterback. You can get away with that. Or it's the other way around. You have an expensive-ass quarterback, and you got to start being a little bit more, nimble around all the corners.
Got to be
literally.
cheap somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look, if they get expensive at corner, where have they been? Where they've been notoriously cheap under the Veach era since 2018. Where do they get cheap all of a sudden? This is what I always send out to everybody else. Like, they've paid Nick Bolton, they've paid Chris Jones, they paid Drew Tranquill. That's 3 defenders out of 11 right there. And you want to stay expensive on the offensive side because you have all your money tied up to Patrick Mahomes. He is your franchise. So you want to give him better veteran players, guys that are a little more on the expensive side, but you know what they are. That is where you spend the money. So I proposition the people that say, no, you got to pay Trent McDuffie whatever it takes. Okay, so where do you get cheap? Do you guys want to be cheap at wide receiver? Because I've heard you guys say all the time that you want them to continue to throw into a wide receiver, continue to pay wide receiver, get the best guys over there. You can't be cheap at offensive line. You got to protect Patrick Mahomes. So where do you get cheap? These are the questions that need to be asked. And look, the current market for cornerbacks is roughly 4 years, and this is according to SpotRack.com. It's currently around 4 years, $25 million per year. And that's with elite corners like Sauce Gardner, who still hasn't gotten his contract. Imagine what his numbers are going to look like. Because the Jets know they have to pay him. They don't have the team to just afford to let him walk or trade him off. They know they got to pay Sauce Gardner. Imagine what the numbers are going to look like after that contract comes down. And it will come down. And if we can put these numbers in real quick, Joe, these are just 4 names that you can compare with Trent McDuffie when it comes to value, when it comes to similar draft situations. I mean, look at these names. Patrick Surtain, J.C. Horn, A.J. Terrell, Jair Alexander. All got 4-year deals, well over $20 million. Look at their ages. Right at Trent McDuffie's age. But see, if you look at these guys, what's the similarity with all these guys, Trevor? They all play for teams that are not contending for titles. Well, now Jair
just got cut.
Yeah, well, I think he signed with the Ravens, though. So but it's a new deal. You know what I'm saying? It's a much cheaper deal.
Still was cut by the team that gave him that extension.
Yeah, exactly. And he's, 28 now? So it's like his best years are behind him.
Yeah.
And so
coming off another injury,
look at all these guys. Yes, they're making big money. And again, McDuffie deserves this money and more. But it's the context of where you play and who you play with. If the Chiefs had any of these guys on this list, I have to wonder if they would pay them. Because like I said, I think one of the biggest reasons why, and maybe Brett Veach will prove me wrong here, but as time is going on, Trevor, I think that Brett Veach drafted McDuffie the way he got those big eyes and said, oh my God, he's still on the board, let's go up and get him. It's because they knew they can get 5 years out of him.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like they thought, oh, this is a 10-year guy.
Yeah.
It's like, this could be our guy for 5 freaking years. That's a long time. In the
Yes.
NFL, that's an eternity.
If you commit to a first, second round pick on a guy like that, you're like, oh, we give him 5 years and we're have to pay his ass.
Right.
This guy, you get him where you got him. It's like, we get to squeeze the best 5 years out of him.
That's not a bad
and
thing.
then let him walk or let him go or trade him off.
Yeah, when you draft the left tackle, you're thinking what? Oh, we're going to get 10 to 15 years out of this dude. Like a first-round pick. You know what I mean? We're going to get – this is going to be our guy for the next decade. You get a quarterback. Hopefully this is our guy for 15 years. You don't think about that with running backs. You don't think about that with cornerbacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not how that usually works. Because you know that the shelf life for every position, it varies. And that's what I think is happening here, guys. So the longer this extension doesn't happen, the more expensive McDuffie's getting. So you have to ask yourself, if Brett Veach is going to pay Trent McDuffie, why hasn't he? The 2022 Chiefs had 3 rookies. They won the Super Bowl that year, by the way. They had 3 rookie quarterbacks starting for them. It was McDuffie, Jalen Watson, and Joshua Williams. Those 3 had a combined cap hit of $4 million.
That's wild, bro.
And $2.5 million of that $4 million was McDuffie. In 2023, they had a combined, those 3 guys had a combined cap hit of $5 million. It went up $1 million more. Oh, by the way, Trevor, L'Jarius Sneed, because I know everyone's asking, what about him? L'Jarius Sneed, the former 4th-round pick, arguably the best corner in the NFL over that 2-year span. He was shutting down everybody. Tyreek Hill, name it.
Especially in the postseason, yeah.
He made a combined, in those 2 years, L'Jarius Sneed made a combined $3.9 million. So, for 4 cornerbacks that helped you win 2 Super Bowls, back-to-back, the Chiefs had a total cap hit of less than $13 million. And you're talking about paying Trent McDuffie $25 to $28 million. Going. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is not an anti-McDuffie.
No,
this is not.
I was on the opposite side of this for a long time, but I've kind of started inching closer.
I want to throw it your way, and I want to throw it to the people. You guys tell me, would you rather pay a soon-to-be 25, 26-year-old undersized cornerback who's going to age progressively 25 to 30 million a year for the next 4 or 5 years, or let Brett Veach keep cooking and get his cornerbacks in the draft and free agency for real cheap and keep doing it the way they're doing it? Because it's been working for 6, 7 years, guys. The Chiefs don't get to 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls. Honestly, it should be 6 straight. They choked to the Bengals, but the point remains. They've been to 5 of the last 6, been to 7 straight AFC championships. You don't tell me it directly correlates with the fact they've handled things the exact same way they've been handling at certain positions. Guys, like I said, L'Jarius Sneed was in the prime of his career. Actually had a great season with the Titans this last year. 27 years old, shutting down every single. Here's the thing: Trent McDuffie wasn't guarding the number 1 corner or the number 1 receivers. It was L'Jarius Sneed, and he was shutting their shit down. The Chiefs said, "Thank you, tag trade." It's a cutthroat business. This is the world we exist in, guys. And I'm telling you, they have to be cheap somewhere. And this has been the formula for the longest time. I believe that Trent McDuffie would get $100 million, probably 25 other places. I just don't think it's going to happen here. I totally and completely disagree with Nate Taylor, with all due respect. But I don't think the Chiefs have to pay Trent McDuffie, because they've won Super Bowls with cheap cornerback play before and I believe after Trent McDuffie. What are your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, and that was before George Karlaftis. During that time, even George Karlaftis was a baby and still getting better. He's at his best right now. So I think you pay the guy who's at his best right now. Not that Trent McDuffie's not also at his best, but the way that these careers tend to play out at these positions, I think it makes the most sense to pay a guy. And the fact that they've already paid several other people and plan on probably most likely playing Trey Smith. I think once Trey Smith gets paid, which is going to happen, I think that's kind of the nail in the coffin for us having hopes of paying Trent McDuffie also, because I do think George Karlaftis is going to get paid one way or the other. But yeah, man, like I said, I think I've been on the other side of this argument for a while, more or less about the DK stuff, trading for those 2 guys, kind of a swap, maybe package deal. That's what I was mostly adamantly against. But this coming to this situation of recycling this position and how Veach has always found ways to get talent, and Spagnuolo finding ways to get the guys in the right position, and no matter how talented they are or not talented they are, making plays in big moments. Josh Williams is not great. He hasn't really ever been a great player. No offense to him. but he's been put in a position and he's been coached up by the greats, the greatest defensive coordinator, and he's been put in a great situation with a good system that gets the best out of him. So I think we could continue to do that at that position. Trent McDuffie might be the best corner that we've ever had and will ever have in this Mahomes era. And I can live with that because he's got a couple rings on his hand.
Exactly.
Right? And, he can also have a couple rings and go get paid elsewhere and make that life-changing, family, bloodline-altering money. And I would be happy as hell for him. And I don't think that's going to be on the Chiefs, and I agree with you. And I think we're better off making that pivot on who we're going to pay by paying guys. Because, listen, Steve Spagnuolo knows this. I think anybody who knows the X's and O's of football, you need to have that pressure up front. You need to have those dogs on the defensive line in order for your corners to have success and for their stats to look better than they would else if you didn't have good pressure up front. That's which is why Chris Jones has been a godsend for any corner who's played on this team. They know it all starts with Chris Jones.
Right.
And the guys on the edge, setting the edge and allowing Chris Jones to do what he does best. Same thing for the offense. We all know you protect the quarterback, plays are going to be made. That's just how it goes. You got good dogs up front on the opposite line. The running game is going to flourish. That's why this game starts and ends in the trenches, and everybody knows that. So I think investing there makes the most sense. Keeping George Karlaftis here, like you said, only 23, 24 years old, guy that's just hitting his stride into his peak. Same with Trent McDuffie, I get it. But there's certain different there's levels to value to what these positions bring to these rosters, and I'm with you. I think I've pretty much have landed on the other side of the line here with this Trent McDuffie stuff. Was definitely attached to the guy. Still love the guy. I want to see that name on this jersey for a long time. But there's just cutthroat parts of this business, like you said, that you got to just have to cut your losses. There's no real solutions. There's just trade-offs in this and life in general. But there's especially when it comes to sports and sports business, the trade-offs is literally what it is, man. Yeah. We value what they bring for the time that we have them, but it's somebody else's turn eventually.
Well, I think this is one of those situations where I think sometimes we don't see the forest through the trees, because I know that at the end of the day, every single Chiefs fan that's watching or listening to this right now the one universal agreement we all will have is that we all want to see the Chiefs continue to win Super Bowls, right? We think you got to have this guy or this guy to do that. But what we forget is that before some of these guys that we feel that way about were even here, the Chiefs were already contending and winning Super Bowls. That's the thing I need people to understand, is that in 2018, the Chiefs were an overtime loss away from going to the Super Bowl. 2019, they won the Super Bowl. 2020, they went to the Super Bowl. 2021, an overtime loss in the AFC Championship from going to the Super Bowl. That all occurred before McDuffie ever was in a Chiefs uniform. Like, think about that. That's 4 seasons the Chiefs could have been to the Super Bowl, and 2 of them they were.
Yeah.
That's the point I'm trying to get people to understand, is that, yes, they have 2 more rings, and he played a part in that. And that is something you can never take away and always give him credit for, and that is why he will forever be a Chief. I think there's a really good chance that man's going to be in the Ring of Honor. I think he could be a Chiefs Hall of Famer if he plays another 2 seasons here or another season here of great football. There's that chance, and we can have those discussions at a later date. But we also have to look at it as, if we want to see this team continue to win Super Bowls, they have to find a way to work under the cap. And the best way I think they do that is maximizing the players they know that they don't want to pay long term and getting trade value out of them. That is literally what they did with L'Jarius Sneed. That is why this team is going to continue to win, because Brett Veach thinks ahead of the game. He is not emotionally attached to these players in that regard. We've seen previous regimes in this city do this very thing. Yeah. We've seen John Dorsey overspend on veteran defensive players, and that blew up in their face. And it's funny, because at the time we thought that was the right idea. Paying Eric Berry was something I very much loved and I wanted the Chiefs to do. How did that work out for them? It didn't. It blew up in their face. He had a massive cap hit, and he underwhelmed because of injuries, unfortunately because of health concerns, things of that nature. The point I'm trying to make, though, is that wasn't a good decision in the grand scheme of things. And Eric Berry was a massive fan favorite here. Eric Berry was a top 5 pick in the draft. Yeah. This was supposed to be a god amongst men. He was supposed to be that next all-time great safety. And the Chiefs paid him, and if you look back, and we could take that back, they would take that back.
And where I always go to, like, logically for me, like, whenever I come down to this, when I have this conversation with myself in my head about how much it would suck to watch Trent McDuffie leave, I always kind of remind myself of, like, how much impact and how much value does Trent McDuffie have on this roster and has had on this roster in comparison to what Tyreek Hill was here? Because how upset were we when Tyreek Hill got his exit?
We were livid.
We won 2 Super Bowls immediately after he left.
Back to back, yes.
That's what I'm saying. Like the impact. Obviously, Tyreek Hill is far more impactful for the Chiefs than Trent McDuffie ever has been on this team, and that's not. I mean, it's not like drastically, but Trent McDuffie's definitely had his impact. But Tyreek Hill was maybe the most dynamic offensive weapon we've ever seen.
Right.
And we let him walk.
Right.
And we won 2 Super Bowls after he walked.
Right. And ironically,
that's what I'm saying.
They got Trent McDuffie because of that trade.
Exactly.
They got him because of that trade.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
The irony there. But yeah, like to my point though, like if Trent McDuffie walks, it's definitely going to suck, and we're going to feel that that pain.
Yeah.
It sucks him in a different jersey, so on and so forth. But we won 2 straight Super Bowls after maybe the best receiver at the time.
And you make the best point in all of this, Trey, because that's literally what I'm trying to say is the Chiefs maximized Tyreek's trade value. Yeah. He was 27, almost 28 years old at the time they traded him.
One of the biggest hauls we've ever seen. 5
draft picks. Yeah. Dude, Davante Adams got the Packers 2 picks.
Yeah.
Davante Adams, who's one of the greatest ever. Like, Tyreek Hill is too, but I'm saying, like, think about that. He got 3 more picks, and that gave the Chiefs 12 picks to do what they wanted. They traded multiple times in that draft, and they got Trent McDuffie with one of those trades. So what I'm trying to proposition to Chiefs fans here, you don't have to buy into my take here. You make your choice. But think about what I'm saying. Like, this could be a cycle of life type of thing where you trade Tyreek Hill, you get Trent McDuffie. You trade Trent McDuffie, you get the next whoever. Yeah. It could be a linebacker, it could be a safety, it could be a wide receiver, it could be a tight end, because we all are worried about Travis Kelce. What if they trade Trent McDuffie and they get some mid-round pick or second-round pick or whatever, and they go and get the next Hall of Fame tight end with that pick? It's possible. You know why I know that's possible? Because they got Trent McDuffie in this Tyreek trade. We've seen it happen. We've seen Brett Veach do what he does. You know my rule, bro. When it comes to paying players, what do I always say? It is, do I think this player is better at his job than Brett Veach is better at his? If I think that, pay him. If I think Brett Veach is better at his job than the player, I trust Brett Veach.
Yeah.
That's always been my golden rule. So I'm sticking with that. Although Trent McDuffie is so fucking good. He's awesome. I love him. I'm so glad he's been with the Chiefs. I trust Brett Veach more than I think I think I trust Trent McDuffie. Therefore, I'm giving Brett Veach the choice to do what he feels is best. If Brett Veach wants to pay Trent, I'm going to live with it. I'm not going to be mad. I'm not going to be sitting here pounding my fist going, oh my fucking God, what the hell? Yeah. I'm not doing that. But I'm going to sit here and go, I mean, it goes against what Brett's been doing for 6-7 years. So it is kind of odd, but I'm going to trust that Brett knows what he's doing here. I didn't love that Joe Thuney got traded. One of the first things on my wish list was extending him. But I get it because he's 33 years old. And they probably don't want to pay that guy $20 million a year. It makes sense. It makes sense to pay a great player like Trent McDuffie. But it also doesn't, if you really think about it. And that's what I'm trying to break it down, man. So, you know what? We've been harping on this now for 30 minutes. This is a little bit of a different show today. I would like to get your guys' thoughts on this. Whatever, if you guys have a take on this, if there's takes on this particular topic, let's get to those. Let's react to them, like questions. Let's kind of like a special edition of Speak It, where it's not just the questions, but some of the takes as well that we can address as well, Trevor. That's cool with you, man. So whatever questions you guys have, obviously drop those in. We want to answer as many questions as possible. But if you guys have a take on this, you think I'm wrong, you think I'm right, whatever, you're indifferent about it, you're not sure like what the Chiefs should do with McDuffie, whatever it is you guys think, because this is now a topic of conversation. I didn't bring this up. This is not something I'm just bringing up out of thin air. This was literally discussed over the region's airwaves yesterday from a credible source in Nate Taylor, and his take on this. I'm responding to that. I'm reacting to it. Like I said, they drew me back into this whole thing, guys. I was not wanting to talk to McDuffie, but this is something that got brought up, so I decided to counteract it, give you guys my list of players I think the Chiefs should actually pay, and why I believe the Chiefs should not be paying Trent McDuffie due to his positional value. What do we got, Trev?
So we got a few in here right now, but as I'm reading these off, guys, let's go ahead and if you're in the chat, go ahead and start getting some more in here for me. Just whether on topic or something else you got in your mind. Also, no matter what the question is, just go ahead and chime in and see what you got. But off the top rope, we got our guy Dustin Norton per usual.
Yeah.
Lance, Reed says Simmons is ready to go. Thoughts on the tackle room? I know you mentioned it's odd they paid both Moore and Taylor, but does this addition of Simmons now that he is healthy change your opinion?
No, it doesn't. I think Coach Andy is doing what he always does. He says stuff without actually saying anything. And I think what Andy's doing is he's exuding confidence in a player that they drafted high at. Obviously drafting him 32nd overall. They were big on Josh Simmons from the beginning. I do know that because I know Brett Veach was eyeing him for quite some time. He was arguably the best left tackle in all of college football last couple of years.
Yeah.
So I understand the value of that. I don't believe, if I'm telling you guys right now what I think's happening, I think that they're confident in what he's going to become for the team as the years go on, because you got to remember they have him on a 5-year deal if they pick up his option, obviously after that 4th season on his rookie deal, being a first-round pick. I think that I truly believe the Chiefs are looking at him more as a 2026 asset. I think he's going to be their starting left tackle in 2026. I think they paid Jalen Moore because, one, they couldn't predict they're going to get Josh Simmons. For all they knew, someone else was going to take him. And two, they needed insurance. Jalen Moore still has to prove himself as well, so that's also an interesting aspect to it all. But I'm not upset of them paying Jalen Moore and Jawaan Taylor. I understood why they went and got Jawaan Taylor. I was told differently that he was going to be the left tackle, but that obviously didn't happen. He's a solid right tackle, and I get why the Chiefs paid him. I actually think the Chiefs have a good problem at tackle right now for the first time in years, where there's actually like a depth composition. You know what I mean? Like we're having to sit here and worry about who's going to be the starter, as opposed to, well, God, who they have. You know what I mean? It's not one of those situations. Well, I guess we got to go throw 32-year-old Joe Tootie over there. No, it's not that anymore. It's who's going to be the best man. Who's the best man for the job? If you're asking me what I think is going to happen, I think Jalen Moore wins the job outright to start the season. If there's injuries, if he underperforms, then you're going to see Josh Simmons, because I think Josh Simmons will be healthy enough to play. But I do think they want to ease him into his career because they know this is a serious knee injury. And they also know they got a guy that's making $20 million over there in Jalen Moore. So I think they want to make the most out of the money they've spent and allow the 5-year player, the 5-year plan, to be a 5-year plan and not get him hurt too early or not, break his confidence, kind of like what happened with Kingsley. And so that's how I think they're going to handle it.
Yeah. Julia Gooley with the next question. Can we get beyond Chris Jones' contract to get cheap on the D-line?
Well, so what they can do with Chris Jones' contract, I believe, right after this season, is they can actually restructure it to where there's more money up front, more guaranteed money. I think it moves to the signing bonus. And if John Harrison's watching, he can break this down a little bit better. But from what my understanding is, after the 2025 season, they can restructure Chris Jones' deal that takes that softens the cap hit. But I do think that's going to kind of cause a little bit of problems they don't want to have with Chris, who's going to be, deeper in his 30s. So that's going to be a debate and a topic to discuss later on. But I'll be honest with you, I think the Chiefs are pretty cheap in defensive line overall right now. I mean, that'll change if they have to pay George Karlaftis or if they will pay George Karlaftis. But, I mean, Mike Dana's got a decent contract. Pinnell's making no money. They got a couple rookies on the defensive line now, like Charles Omenihu's making like $6-7 million. I think 4 or 5 of it's even guaranteed. So overall, the Chiefs are decently cheap, dare I say, at defensive line right now. But yeah, I do think if they can exercise that restructure with Chris, I think they will. It's just going to be very interesting to see how they pull it off. It's going to really. If they do it, it's going to be for one particular reason. It's because they're trying to sign somebody this offseason, whether that's Karlaftis or somebody outside of the team right now they really want. That's the only reason I see them doing that. So that's what you need to pay attention to.
Yeah. Max Wasson. Do we think the Chiefs swing a trade for Breece Hall?
No, not at this time. I think that's a kind of trade that makes sense. I want to get your thoughts on that too, Trevor, because I know you're a big Breece guy as well.
Yeah.
I think that Breece would make sense for the Chiefs. Like, he fits this offense. I would really like him in this offense.
Explosive.
I don't see that unless it's something similar to last season where, like, Pacheco goes down with a bad injury where he's down for 10 weeks. I don't really see the need for it, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I like the idea, but I don't really see the need for it because Pacheco will be back and be healthy this year. They have Kareem Hunt still under contract, who's going to be a good goal line, short yardage kind of guy for the team. And then you went and got Rashad Smith in the 7th round. I just don't really see the need for it. If there's a want, for sure. I'm sure the Chiefs would want to have Breece Hall, but is it a need? I don't believe so. So I don't expect that to happen.
Yeah, I don't either. But man, I would love to
That'd
have
be
a guy
cool.
like that. Yeah, I mean, we were excited to get older off the couch Kareem Hunt. Imagine have a guy like Breece Hall, depending on what you got to give up. Yeah,
Breece only what, like 24?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's a prime, one of the best when healthy running backs in this game. Home run hitter guy, that can do it all, catch the ball really well as well. So having a guy like that can change your offense. We saw that with prime Kareem Hunt. So probably won't happen, but I would not mind, depending on what we give up, to get a guy like that. Dustin Norton. Also, any idea how the media can actually say Allen is better than Mahomes?
Any idea? Yeah, I have an idea because the media likes to provoke us. We have guys like Sam Monson, who's worked for many years in the analytics world, which is just hilarious. PFF, I had a tweet one time, Trevor, that defined what PFF is. It stands for pretty fucking foolish.
Yeah.
PFF is a joke to me. It's always been a joke to me, and anybody that goes by it, I just don't think you really understand football. I think you just make up shit and you live in unicorn land. And Sam Monson, who I think has knowledge of the NFL, is also just one of those guys that gets caught up in a narrative and doesn't really understand how to get himself out of it, and so he just kind of dies on the hill. And then we have Chris Sims and idiots doing the same shit. Look, Josh Allen is a bona fide first ballot Hall of Famer. He is one of the greatest talents I've ever seen at quarterback. There is nothing I'm going to take away from Josh Allen. To me right now, he's the second best quarterback in the NFL. He is about as complete as it gets. And he's getting better. Like he's playing better football every single year, it seems.
Yeah.
If you honestly would take Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes, then I have to question, though, because the gap between Mahomes and Allen is as far as it is from like Allen to like Dak Prescott. Like that's really how far because guys, and it isn't just the wins and losses, but we've seen the difference in how these guys have played in their biggest moments. Now Josh Allen's had some really good games in the postseason, but Patrick Mahomes has about 20 great games in the postseason. He's had all these comebacks, all these great moments, all these achievements, and he oftentimes has done it with Josh Allen sitting at the fucking sideline across the field. I don't know how that doesn't matter, because I always heard people talk about like Tom Brady was better than Peyton Manning because he always, would beat him early in the postseason, even though, Peyton Manning's 3-1 against him in the AFC Championship. But I digress. The point is they always talk about, well, Brady played better in the bigger moments. I'm sorry. Did I miss something? Did I miss the last 6-7 years? Because I could have swore that Patrick always seemed to play better than Josh Allen in the games that mattered the most. And I'm sorry, I thought like Super Bowl MVPs, things like that, going to 7 straight AFC Championship, I thought stuff like that like meant something. It's funny how like it doesn't mean anything now. It always like helped Tom Brady. It always helped, some of the former greats of yesteryear. But for some reason, that doesn't matter now. Like we keep putting Justin Herbert in the top 5, even though he's literally accomplished nothing. Yeah. And his numbers are very pedestrian at times. Like I don't understand what we base greatness off of anymore. Because the goalposts just keep moving. So no, in the longest-winded way possible and imaginable, we all know deep down, everybody knows, even Bills fans know deep down, Josh Allen is not the best quarterback in the league, and that's what he would be if he was better than Patrick Mahomes.
Can't disagree with you there. Julia Gulia, when Watson went down, we saw cornerback play drop. Wouldn't losing McDuffie be worse, or is pass rush more important than coverage?
The last line is everything. Pass rush is so much more important than coverage. Is it any coincidence to you guys? And look, I like Jalen Watson.
Yeah.
And even to his credit, Jalen Watson, the reason why his value was shown is because he's an outside corner, guys. L'Jarius Sneed not being there last season with a Watson injury is the bigger reason. L'Jarius Sneed is an outside corner who guards wide receiver ones, and Jalen Watson oftentimes was guarding wide receiver ones. Trent McDuffie doesn't do that. Trent McDuffie doesn't travel. Trent McDuffie is usually almost exclusively in the slot. He played a little bit outside, and he plays decent. But Trent McDuffie is more of a slot corner who plays against tight ends, plays against running backs, plays against wide receiver 2s and 3s, and he will do a very good job against those guys. But Jalen Watson being out and L'Jarius Sneed being gone was the reason why there was such a significant loss. But that's on the cornerback side. The fact that the Chiefs' offense or pass rush was so abysmal last year is why the cornerbacks look bad in those moments.
Yeah.
The most. That's the biggest reason. If Chris Jones and the guys were getting to the quarterback like they had over the last couple of years, we're not talking about the absence of Jalen Watson because it would have been masked. It had been covered. But it wasn't there, guys. So, yes, without question, it is more about the pass rush. It is more about what you're getting done in the face of the quarterback, not 30 yards downfield. Is that important down there? Yes. You got to have good coverage, of course. But like Julia said earlier, I trust Dave Merritt. I trust Coach Merritt.
Yeah.
That's where my trust lies. He's going to figure out things with the secondary, and he did, even with Jalen Watson being down. But isn't that kind of the point, though, I'm trying to make sure all day? Is that we're sitting here talking about the absence of Jalen Watson and how much it affected the defense. Jalen Watson was, what, a 6th-round pick? Or what? Late day, he was a day 3 pick. I know that.
Yeah.
Huh. And he was that important. And Brett Veach found him in a day 3 pick. Just like L'Jarius Sneed. Just like Joshua Williams.
Could be a couple guys in this recent draft that
just like Jaden Hicks.
Yeah.
Like, he's found so many dudes late in the draft, and they're valuable commodities. Man, it's weird. It's almost like you don't have to pay high-value guys to have high-value guys in the quarterback position. So no, it's about the pass rush, and if they get that down this year, which I am expecting, then you're going to see an uptick in the way that the cornerbacks play and overall just look, because their jobs are going to be that much easier because they only have to guard for 1.5 to 2.5 seconds as opposed to 2.5 to 3.5 seconds. And yes, there is a massive difference in between.
Absolutely. Julia Gulia, do we expect a real competition at punter, and how hot is Tobe's seat?
No, first of all, Tobe's seat is not hot at all. Even though I've had my issues, I've had my issues with Tobe many times over the last couple of years. I think he has lost his touch a little bit, and that's to be expected.
He had some great moments last season, though.
Sure, yeah.
2 block kicks. I mean,
he's one of the greatest special teams coaches we've ever had in this league.
Yeah.
So he's goated, but I think Ariza is going to win the job. I do. I think the Chiefs really believe in his talent. Last year, he was just a boot. Like, he was not himself. I think that he will get back to what he was his rookie year with the Bills. He's got, obviously, probably the strongest leg in the league, but I think his placement is where they're going to start really, really working on him. But I know that rookie kid they have coming in that's going to give him real fight. I still think Ariza's got the talent advantage over him, and I think that you go with talent more times than you don't. So I'll go with Ariza on this one.
Yeah, that's as far as right now, that's the last question we got, man.
Totally fine, man. We don't have to have humongous long shows every single week, guys. It's we get in here, we talk about what we want to talk about, and we get in what we need to get in. And I appreciate you guys for just being here.
We got some long shows coming up soon.
Boy, man, you guys strap in, because when September hits, whew, we're gonna have a prediction show. We're gonna have week 1 previews. You guys know how this goes, man. If you've been around any length of time, you know that our shows usually go around 2.5 hours. So it's not bad to have a 45-minute to an hour-long show. So without further ado, before I say anything, like I told you guys at the top, you missed it. If you want to be a part of the show and get in on the conversation, guys, it is so easy to do it. All you have to do is go to our YouTube channel, go to the Spoken Podcast, hit subscribe, hit notify, hit share, all that stuff. But then get in the comments, get in the chat. We don't talk at you, we talk with you. Have a conversation with us. That is what we want to do every single week, is just to see where you guys are at, see what you guys are talking about, what your guys' thoughts, questions, comments, concerns are, and we react to that, and we have a conversation with you. That is what we do here at the Spoken Podcast. Without further ado, Trevor, it is time for our last order of business. What is it called? Hold this L. Each and every episode, we finish off every single episode with a series of L's in the world of sports. Whether those L's are friendly L's or not so friendly L's in the world of sports, we promise you, who's ever holding those L's in the world of sports deserve those L's in the world of sports. Trevor Toole, who's holding over you this week?
All right, so I know this was a couple weeks ago, and this is my guy, this is my boy, this is arguably basically my favorite fighter in the world right now still. My boy Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Yep.
As I say all the time, as we know, a lot of people say all the time, and sports in general, especially hand-to-hand combat sports, matchups make fights. And we didn't really talk about this much after he lost to Merab for the second time. But since then, a few days ago, Sean O'Malley did come out and make a statement about it, and he was on a little live stream, answered some questions, and he said that he still believes he can beat Merab. I know, he says this in quote, I know I'm capable of beating Merab. There's a world where I'm undeniable and get that one back, end quote. I disagree here, man. I just don't think, there's certain guys, there's always been greats, especially in the UFC, that just kind of met their match, or not even necessarily met their match, just met someone who has a skill set that just counters their skill set.
Yeah.
To such they don't even have to be the better fighter, just better in that matchup.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I still think Sean's the better fighter, personally. But But Merab just has this tactic and this way of going about it, and the way he attacks Sean, he kind of takes him out of his game. And Sean honestly was worse this second time around, and he was trying to use that excuse the first loss that he was injured, which he was, which is you can use that as an excuse slightly to why you underperformed. But he was worse the second fight,
Right.
and that was tough to watch, and I hated to watch it. It was a slow death, just him getting, and then him getting picked up and slammed by Merab, who's 6 inches shorter than him. It was just tough to watch. And then, the statement like that, talking about, there's a world where he knows he can beat Merab, and he's undeniable that he can, get that one back. I don't think he needs to fight Merab again. I think we've seen enough. And I hate that this is my guy, that I have to kind of go this way, but it's a bad look. It was a bad look the first time around, and it's a bad look this time around because he didn't take the first loss well at all, and the second one, he's taking it a little bit better, but still, I understand having confidence in yourself. I understand that, but we saw, John Jones defeat several of the greats as well, and those guys, trying to talk that one down. But John Jones is just John Jones. Not comparing John Jones to Merab, but that's just how this sport is, especially MMA. It's demoralizing as it gets. One man's just dominating you. And you're great, but there's not much you could do about a certain guy's style that just counters what you want to do and doesn't allow you to do what you do best.
Right.
And that's just what Merab's done. Not only to Sean. I mean, he's the best in bantamweight maybe ever. So he's done this to everybody else in this weight division along Sean. So this is what it is. Sean might move up, might move down a weight class. Who knows? He might try to fight Merab again. I think that'll be a mistake. But I still think Sean is an absolute great phenom of a fighter. Love him dearly. He's still electric. He's a bad matchup for damn near everybody else.
Yeah.
That is in his weight class outside of Merab. Merab just has his number, man, and it is what it is. So, but for Sean to come out here and still, granted, I get it. You gotta have your ego intact. You gotta be able to be confident in yourself too. But give respect where it's due, and maybe just chalk this one up as this one you're just gonna kind of put behind you instead of marinating on it too much. And I think that's what he should do. But 2 straight L's against this guy, man. There's not much else you can do, and not much else you can say. The guy's taking your soul twice now. So for that, Sugar Sean O'Malley, my boy, do me a solid favor and hold this L.
So I want to give a W first and foremost to some buddies of ours. I like to say we have a great Chiefs community here in the content creating world, and some of the best people I've ever met in that industry are my guys over at Chief Concerns, Marcus Dash, Jason Dunn, and Tasia Dash as well.
Yeah.
They hit 10,000 YouTube subscribers this week, and look, other shows might think of that and go, yeah, that's cool, whatever. I think that is amazing, and knowing these guys and seeing them grow throughout these years is something that I have loved every second of. And again, those are some of my best friends in this world. JD is like the big brother I never had. And Marcus is like the little brother I didn't have, even though I had 3 of them. But he's like that other little one that has more hair. And Marcus is a great dude. We've had many, many talks off air and on air. And JD, like I said, he's been like a mentor, man. He's spoken a lot of life into my world. He's always been one of the most gracious people I've ever met. And Tasia is one of the most knowledgeable dudes out there when it comes to football, but doesn't know a damn thing about basketball. Because every time we've talked to LeBron James, I wanted to choke him. But I love Tasia. He's a great guy. But just 10,000 subscribers. How do you know what I mean? Like just seeing the achievements these guys have. They should have 100,000 more than what they do. But you know what? This is awesome. And if you're not following them, I really hope that you guys get over there. They have a lot of shows throughout the week. They're very busy, very active. Them and All Chiefed Up are like the two shows that I always swear by, because they're 2 shows that give you honesty. And I definitely appreciate those guys for what they do for this community, furthering along. They got ranked just a couple weeks ago as one of the best shows of the Chiefs community. Over here shooting my pen out of my hand. But yeah, I definitely want to give them their flowers today.
Absolutely.
Give a W to our guys, because they definitely deserve everything that they have coming their way. I had my L, and here it is right here. So we don't talk about this very often on this show, but I'm going to talk about it real quick. The WNBA has a real problem on their hands because for the first time in my life, and the WNBA hasn't been around very much longer than I've been alive, but the WNBA for the first time has their golden calf, if that makes sense. Their golden, their pony, you know what I mean? Like the one that could get them over the edge and finally bring true relevance to their sport. They've had great players, don't get me wrong. They've had great players in the past. Diana Taurasi, the list can go on of great players. I can give you Cheryl Miller, Cheryl Swoops, Sue Bird. They've had great, Candace Parker. You can name them off. But no one has ever had the aura that Caitlin Clark has. No one has had, quite frankly, I'm going to say this. I think she's the most skilled player I've ever seen in the WNBA. This woman is averaging over 20 points a game and 9 assists. No one has ever done that before. I think Candace Parker led the league in assists one year at 6. This is her averaging 9, while being one of the highest scorers in the WNBA. But the problem, you hear all that and you're thinking that's great. Yeah, it is. The problem, though, is that some of these ladies in the league are going at her as if she's the enemy. And look, it's competition. So I'm not sitting here and saying you can't rough her up or, you can't. I'm not trying to take that approach. But when you watch some of these instances, it isn't basketball. It's deeper.
It's crabs in a bucket, bro.
It's crabs in a bucket. And there's a real problem there. Because if we want, and I do, if we want the WNBA to be successful, if we want women's sports to be successful, we've got to get out of this mentality that it's her against you in the grand scheme of things. If anything, she's great for this league because we just saw the Lakers sell the majority of their stakeholding for $10 billion. You know what the rest of the league did? You know what the rest of the owners did? They popped champagne because you know what that does for their league? It ups the value of everybody's teams, of everybody's franchise.
High ties raises all boats.
Boy.
Yep.
And when you have a Caitlin Clark in this league, you should celebrate that woman. Celebrate what she brings to your sport because she brings you relevance you've never seen before. And I don't want to say we'll never see again. I hope that because of what she is, the next awesome woman sport figure in this country plays basketball. I hope the next 50 play basketball because soccer's taken care of. Women dominate soccer. Our women in the US kick that ass. But I want to see our women basketball do that. I would love it if we get 8 Caitlin Clarks, 10 Caitlin Clarks, 50 Caitlin Clarks in the WNBA. Because you know what that does? That ups the value. And you know what that does? That makes them a profit. And you know what that does? These women can start finally making millions. That would be awesome. How cool would that be? If we had a WNBA where women are making $50 to $100 million contracts, that would be so fucking cool. But that will never happen if we have women treating Caitlin Clark the way they are right now. By doing the things they're doing, man. It's just, to me, I can't stand it. And I'm going to tell you right now, I love the fact that Caitlin Clark claps back, telling her I can do whatever the fuck I want to do when those chicks are trying to check her. And then her teammate from Missouri, who has a black belt, by the way, is fucking putting chicks in the headlock. I fucking love it, dude. Because that's telling them, we're not going to let you bully her. We're not gonna. It feels so much like the Michael Jordan Charles Oakley situation when the Bulls brought Charles Oakley over to be the enforcer. Like, Michael doesn't need to fight his own battles. He's here to be great. Let's go get a Charles Oakley that whoops some ass. Like, that's what I love about this situation is now she has her enforcer. Which, by the way, I don't know if you saw. I need to give credit to her credit. It's Sophie Cunningham.
Yeah.
She got a $400 fine for the flagrant foul the other night. But now her jersey is sold out.
Put it on my tab.
Yeah, her jersey is sold out. You can't buy her jersey right now. So Sophie Cunningham, I guarantee the team's like, well, let's just go. The owner's like, let me pull that out of my wallet real quick. Let me get the $400. And then now that she's making all that money, so I should give her a W for what she does. But I want to give an L to the people that are coming against Caitlin Clark, that are trying to downplay her greatness, that are trying to downplay what she does for the WNBA. Because like I said, for the first time ever, we're sitting here talking on this show about the WNBA because it's relevant. And I love that. I want to celebrate that. But in the meantime, for the ones that are trying to detract all the greatness that Caitlin Clark embodies, do me a solid and hold this L.
Couldn't agree more, man. We have one last little question from my guy Michael Baldonado. I wanted to get to it. He said, Game 7, who wins?
Oh man, oh man,
It's
dude.
tomorrow.
I want to tell you guys so confidently what I think, and I feel like it's going to be the opposite because I thought for sure with 𝚂𝙿𝙸𝙀 being hurt, 𝚂𝙿𝙾𝙺𝙀 as I was calling him, with him being hurt, and Game 6, the Thunder are feeling themselves coming off a big victory.
Yep.
I thought for sure the Thunder were going to roll, and they got rolled, dude. You can make the theories about the Thunder wanting to win at home in Game 7. You don't ever do that.
No, you don't ever want it to go to Game 7.
Ever do that. Dude, I want to say the Thunder are going to win this game. But I'm not going to be shocked if the Pacers
𝚂𝙿𝙀𝙀's
win.
probably going to play.
Yeah. I mean, he was good in Game 6. He wasn't great, but he was good.
Yeah.
And 𝚂𝙿𝙀 was fantastic. So I don't know. If I'm going to make a bet right now, I'm going to take the home team. I'm going to say the Thunder find a way to roll out a victory in Game 7 at home. But, dude, if the Pacers win, are you honestly going to be shocked?
No,
They
that's
have the
who I
best
picked.
coach in the NBA right now.
That's who I'm picking. That's who I picked to win the finals is the Pacers. So I'm sticking with it. I mean, they definitely could lose. I think this is a great opportunity for OKC, and they have an incredible home crowd. So it's going to be tough. That's going to be a very tough environment for the Pacers to go win. But Carlisle's a hell of a coach.
Man.
He's got those guys humming. Having them coming out to 50 Cent Mini-Men was fucking dope.
Hell yes.
I love that shit. I love when coaches kind of just let their players kind of really just kind of chime in and become them and feed into what they like and let them find their height. But yeah, very impressive win by the Pacers the other night without 𝚂𝙿𝙀𝙀. So it's a great roster, man. Both these teams are loaded, deep rosters, young rosters. But yeah, man, I'm picking the Pacers. That's why I picked. I didn't think it would go Game 7. This is awesome. This is what This is what you want in the NBA Finals. 7 games out of this is what you want. It's the best intense moments of the sport. So I'm picking Pacers, man. I like this team. I like both these teams. Honestly, I like a lot of the players for both these teams. So much young, up and coming players for this league that are fun to watch. Have good personalities. I love this arc for 𝚂𝙿𝙀𝙀 too. I'm hoping he can get out there and play healthy basketball and go get a victory and get a ring on his finger because the kid gets so much hate, man.
He does, and I don't understand it at all. Real quick question before we get out of here: if Pascal Siakam wins his second Finals MVP, is he a Hall of Famer?
Dude, that is a good question because with the Raptors, he was an absolute stud. He's been great for the Pacers too.
Yeah,
and how he stepped up this past game, man, like
he won Finals MVP with the Raptors.
Yeah,
and then if he does it again,
that was with Kawhi Leonard on that team.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
that man.
So
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean he's working on he's still a young. He's not old.
Like what, 27, 28?
Yeah.
Like,
so the dude could. I mean, this Pacers team isn't going anywhere.
No, and Rick Carlisle, he's not retiring.
They got good shooters, good defense. You got a great facilitator in 𝚂𝙿𝙀𝙀, a good leader in
And how about
𝚂𝙿𝙀𝙀.
T.J. McConnell having the most points, assists, rebounds, steals of any role player or any bench player in finals history?
He is such a good point guard, man. He plays that college
that
style.
That mid-range shot is so automatic, dude. Yeah. It's weird.
He's just such a good facilitator too.
He like kicks his legs. It's hilarious.
High IQ player, man. I love guys like that. Yeah, man, dude, that's a good question. I like Siakam a lot. I loved that trade for them when they got him. I wanted the Kings to try to go get him when he was becoming available, but yeah, man, go Pacers. I want to see the Pacers win. Even though either team wins, I'll be happy for a lot of these young guys. This is a massive thing for both these teams. So, but I trust Coach Carlisle. I trust the leadership of this and that defense of the Pacers and the shooting of that Pacers offense. The 3-point shooters are deadly.
The ultimate suck it would be 𝚂𝙿𝙀𝙀 winning this title because they called him the most overrated player in the league.
MVP too. Say he goes and gets like 15, 10, and 10 or something like that.
Dude,
double.
He needs to go on that stage next to Adam Silver, do the DX.
Yeah.
In front of everybody, dude.
Yeah, I do agree that he's not like a superstar.
No.
He's an absolute bona fide star in this
league. He's a star.
Question.
Yes.
Especially what he's done in this.
Yes.
I mean, the clutch gene he has is unreal.
Yeah.
Love the kid. I like him a lot. It still tears me apart that the Kings just let him go away for fucking nothing, basically. But now he's in the finals. This is fucking hilarious. But yeah, I'm picking the Pacers. I don't know. Are you picking? Do you have a team?
I think the home team will win. But dude, I've disrespected the Pacers this whole fucking series, this whole fucking playoff run.
Miles Turner
in the first round.
Miles Turner is my my white horse for this game. Not saying he's going to get like the MVP of the finals by any means if they do win, but I think Miles Turner could go out there and get like 20 and.
Oh, that'd be wild. If he scores 20 points, they win.
He scored 13 in the fourth quarter in one of these games. So, I mean, like, I can see.
His three's hitting? Because I know he's for a big guy. He can shoot.
He is an X factor in this game, in this series.
Watch for Obi Toppin, too, man. Because
that's a guy that can go out there and hit a three.
If their role players are hitting, him and McConnell, guys like that. Yeah.
Miles Turner coming off the bench is such an X factor.
Yeah.
Because they don't really have an answer for him.
No.
They really don't. Check and play him
Chet's been
well.
horrible.
I know, dude.
He's been horrible.
I know.
So that's gonna be interesting to see. I think the home thing is gonna probably bode well for the Thunder because they've been
OKC's
so
got
incredible.
A great fan base.
Yeah, and they have been the better team for the season, but man, yeah,
They're
if
the
Pacers
best
win,
team
I'm
in
not
the
gonna sit
league.
here and be like shocked, dude, because they've just overcome everything. The way they remind me so much like the 04 Red Sox.
When their backs are against the wall, the Pacers play so well too.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw them come back and win in a 20-point deficit
It's
in the fourth
insane.
quarter.
It's
like
insane.
it's wild.
So yeah, I have no idea. This is the most unbelievable, unpredictable finals I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
I love it. That's what makes
Yeah.
us. That's what makes hoops such a fun sport.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
it is. You guys have been missing out. You haven't been watching. Just to put it out there.
The whole
It's not too late
postseason's
though.
been
You have
fun.
Game 7 to still watch.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, it's been a fun show. We got to get out of here. It's been a fast show as well, just over an hour. It feels weird, but you know what? This is necessary. It's the type of show we have, and you guys can always react afterward. Get in the comments as well. You guys can have chats amongst yourselves as well. Get to our Facebook page, get on our Twitter page. Do whatever you guys want to do, man. We just want to keep the conversation going, and you guys know that we are here just about every single week, even through the dog days of summer. So for Trevor Twidwell, for the great Clay Windler that puts all this together on the back end of things, it's Red Stripe Cinema. For the entire Starcade Media family, I'm Lance Twidwell. Episode 318 of the Spoken Podcast is done, finished, and finito. And until we are back here in 1 week's time for episode 319, we out of this bitch.
Later.